Hey, what's up guys, this is What the Tech, and today we're going to be checking out some Apple rumors that I think are true and are due to be out sometime this year. Alright, so starting off is going to be the iPhone SE 2. Alright, so looking at what's most likely to be true of the SE 2, it's going to keep the same aluminum housing that keeps the old iPhone 5S-esque design. So it won't allow for wireless charging because you can't go through the metal. It's most likely to keep the same LCD display in order to keep costs down low. Of which it's worth noting that this display is going to be the same 1136 by 640p screen display at the breathtaking PPI of 326. But if Apple remains consistent with what it usually does, especially if you look back to how the SE, the first one, was originally launched, it's going to get the latest or at least the prior chipset. So if you imagine a iPhone SE 2 which has to run a smaller screen and it doesn't really have to do much intensive tasks, it could easily float by with an A10 or an A11 chip. But if Apple is really trying to keep costs low for this product, it's probably going to be an A10. Because honestly, that's all it really needs. I think it's a smart idea personally that Apple revives the SE line because it's not meant to be a multimedia powerhouse like the plus size phones or the X's out there with super immersive screen. What the iPhone SE 2 does best is actually something we forget to think about when we review phones or check out phones. It's a great phone. Just that by itself. A phone. Hopefully with its added thickness, it won't need to have a camera bump. Of course, if Apple follows the same history as it did with its original SE, it's probably going to be capable of recording at 4K 60 frames per second as well. So pretty much bring it on par with the 8 and X in terms of the camera. Also, due to the size, there is absolutely no reason Apple should remove the headphone jack from this phone. Alright, let's check out iPads, which are pretty much the only good performing tablet out in the market right now. I don't really like talking about sales that much, especially in a declining market, but I just want you guys to keep in mind that iPads are the only item out of the entire segment that's actually increasing in sales volume as compared to everything else. Tablets aren't that hot anymore, they have a really low turnover, and people who buy them tend to keep them for a much longer time than people who buy a phone. And also, it feels like they just last for years. Alright, so Apple for sure is going to refresh the iPad lineup and just call it the iPad 2. If current rumors are true, Apple's main goal here as well is to keep costs low. So you may be noticing a trend here that Apple's trying to keep costs low. So we're not going to see a laminated display like we see in the iPad Pros or the iPad Air 2. So we're going to get that air gap, which kind of ruins viewing angles, but you really don't care about that when you're seeing it just like this. It probably does save pennies on the dollar, but when you make millions of these products, you're saving hundreds of thousands to almost millions in a matter of months. If Apple does what it normally does, we're going to see an upgraded chipset as well. It's not going to be the latest and greatest, but it will be a very capable A10X chip, which is more than plenty enough to power through an iPad 9.7 inch. Yeah, camera's probably going to be the same, and we're probably not going to get stereo audio, but you're not really expecting that if you're buying maybe $320, $350 for a tablet. If you want stereo audio, you're gonna buy an iPad Pro. Speaking of iPad Pros, I personally have the iPad Pro 10.5 inch and I'm loving it, especially with that ProMotion display. And pretty credible rumors, which I will post in the link for everything I've been mentioning by the way, they're gonna try to get rid of the chin and forehead bezels and implement Face ID on all of Apple's iPad Pros. The interesting about having Face ID in the iPads is that because of how the bezels are, if you were to wrap this bezel all around the iPad, there's actually enough room to fit the cameras and the sensors in, the ones you find in the iPhone X's notch. Of course, Apple could do something really stupid and add a notch anyways to keep a same consistent design language across all of its devices, but I really doubt Apple will do that. The notch was more of a compromise than a design decision. And for you guys who still like Touch ID and hope that it would stay on the iPad, well, unfortunately, Face ID is coming and it's most likely going to be what Apple uses for its main authentication via biometrics moving forward. The iPhones. And when I'm referring to iPhones, I'm going to be talking about the latest flagships, not the SE 2. So all right, let's go. So apparently there are going to be 3 iPhones coming out for this year. There's going to be the same 5.8 inch iPhone X size, a 6.1 inch LCD, and a massive 6.4 inch screen display. They're all going to share the same design aesthetic as the iPhone X. You're going to get a full body display phone with that notch on top. Also, I think it's worth mentioning that these phones are going to have a whole new chipset like Apple's upcoming A12 chip, And remember what we saw between the 5S all the way to the 7. Touch ID improved. It wasn't fast at first, and so we're gonna reasonably assume that Face ID should improve, right? It's gonna be Face ID 2. It's gonna probably have faster sensing with tweaks in the software as well as improvements in the hardware. So for people out there who are complaining that it's not reading as quickly as you'd like, maybe it'll come faster. Maybe. The rumored iPhone X Plus, that massive 6.4 inch one, is what I'm personally excited for. The notch will probably be the same. On the 6.1 inch LCD and the 6.4 inch OLED, it's gonna seem smaller thanks to the larger screen, but notch would probably be the same because I don't think Apple worked out the technology in order to miniaturize all of those into a smaller form factor just yet. It's been too soon, and I'm pretty sure they've just been working on how to better mass produce it at a quicker rate. The next chip, the A12 chip that I talked earlier before, is going to be a continuation of Apple's chipsets. What we saw from the A11 was massive spec bumps, of which the latest Android phones can't really compete with at the moment. And we're gonna probably expect the same kind of jump with the A12 chip. Cameras are gonna get a bump, of course, as they always do every year, and I don't really know how they're gonna do it. Maybe a wider overall lens as well as a bigger sensor, but just trust that whatever the next iPhone's camera is, it will be the best. Also, it's safe to assume that's probably not gonna have the aperture sensor that the S9 had with the wider lens and smaller lens, just because it seems kind of almost gimmicky. I can see the usefulness out of it, but I don't think the image quality is that much of a difference. So this part's my speculation, but what I really want in Apple's next iPhones is ProMotion. I know having a 120 Hz display isn't quite possible on OLEDs yet. I want Apple to surprise us and claim that they did it. Having a 120 Hz screen is just amazing. When you use them, user interface feels really slick and the whole operating system just feels faster. Even though it might not necessarily be faster, the fact that everything's gonna be flicking so quickly between your hands, it's just nice. And this is a massive wish that I'm pretty sure is not gonna happen, but I'm really hoping that the next iPhone could have USB-C. Probably not, but a guy can wish. Thanks for watching What the Tech. Be sure to subscribe to watch all future videos and check out our last one. If you really liked what you saw, give us a like. And if you think there's something important that I'm missing, go ahead and share in the comment section. I pretty much just wanted to share the things that are most likely to come true, but there are some items that I personally want to come true that I know aren't gonna happen. See you next time. Peace.